welcome to the show. My name is T, and we are talking scary movies. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new review. Remember, every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I'm always going to have an interview, an opinion piece, or some horror news for you guys to check out. But throughout the week, I am dropping plenty of reviews for y'all to go and check out here on my channel. Whether that's going to be a movie, a TV show, a game, a book, whatever I'm checking out in the world of horror, you don't want to miss any of that. And the best way to stay on top of everything I'm releasing for y'all is to get subscribed to my link tree. And you can do that by going to linktr.ee/T scary movie. If you go to my link tree, that's going to give you access to the YouTube page so you can catch the video versions of the show, to your favorite podcasting platform so you can find the audio only versions of the show, to my Letterboxd page for my movie reviews and movie rankings throughout the year, to my TikTok page for my short horror content including movie premieres and movie news, to my Twitch page where you can catch my horror gaming including The Thing for PlayStation 2 and Rewind or Die, and finally to my Fangoria shop page where you can enjoy my 20% off discount anything in the Fangoria shop including a yearly subscription to the physical magazine. You do not want to miss out on any of that. Hit that subscribe button, folks, especially if you're watching on YouTube. As more followers I get, the more content I can put out for all of you. And you don't want to miss it because this month, folks, our giveaway here is going to be a copy of The Little Golden Book of A is for Alien. Folks, I was able to get an extra copy of this back when these went on sale earlier on this year. They're becoming much harder to come by these days. So figured with Alien Romulus coming out, what better gift to give away to all of you and to be entered for a copy of the book. All you gotta do, comment on any of my videos here in the month of August. At the end of the month, I'm going to put all those names together and we're going to draw a winner to get a copy of A is for Alien. You don't want to miss that. So hit that subscribe button and make sure to comment here on this review. Speaking of reviews, what are we talking about here tonight? Well, in the last week, I got a chance to check out a new slasher that I'm actually enjoying quite a bit here. Folks, tonight we are talking All My Friends Are Dead. This is the latest slasher from one of the godfathers of the Saw franchise, Marcus Dunstan, hitting us here with some blood and guts to go along with a good murder mystery. Folks, let's not waste any time though. Let's jump right on into things. If you haven't seen the trailer for this one yet, All My Friends Are Dead tells the story of a group of young adults on their way to the hottest music festival of the year. But when their van breaks down and they're forced to stay at a local Airbnb, they find out that a killer has tracked them down to their lodging and is looking to kill them for a mistake that they were all involved in years prior. Now, that is the movie here, folks. Again, this is a slasher flick coming from one of the heads of the Saw franchise, Marcus Dunstan. If you haven't heard that name before, he wrote the entries Saw 4, Saw 5, Saw 6, and is also working on the upcoming Saw 11. He is also the man who wrote and directed The Collector, the sequel, The Collection, and the upcoming third film in the franchise. So he absolutely has the pedigree to his name. And what's very interesting about this film is that it is a modern slasher for a Terrifier world. Folks, if you have not checked out those films in the Terrifier series, we have Terrifier 3 coming to us this fall. That's right, Christmas horror, folks, is coming up here. This is a mainstream slasher franchise that has somehow gotten theatrical releases with the level of gore and carnage and blood and guts and just the madness of it all is actually getting a theatrical release. And what's insane about that is that typically movies at that level will not be seen theatrically. They are stuck going to physical media or straight to digital. So it's kind of history seeing a film like that getting the attention and the box office that it has. And All My Friends Are Dead is kind of like accepting that that's where the world is going because it ups the level of blood and gore and guts and mayhem that we get on screen. And even though All My Friends Are Dead had a limited theatrical release, so did Terrifier 2 as well, folks. So it's in the exact same ballpark here. And when you add that kind of gore on screen along with a sensible slasher, you are bound to get a good result out of it. Now, with that being said, I feel a lot of times that your slasher is very much based on whether or not you're trying to tell a whodunit, a la like Scream, and you're trying to figure out who your killer is, or if you kind of already know who that killer is going to be, and instead you're more so focused on, can these characters put two and two together and escape the carnage before it claims their own lives? Something like a Slumber Party Massacre almost, or like an I Know What You Did Last Summer even as well too. Like, yeah, there's MacGuffins that are set up of who the killer could be, but realistically it's not going to end up being any of these characters that we're currently paying attention to. So your slashers, typically, like, those are the two top varieties. There are very much other subgenres out there, but those are the top variety, the top kinds that we got out there. And All My Friends Are Dead is actually a very sensible whodunit for modern times. The movie plays out very similar to Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. If you didn't catch that one from A24 a couple of years ago, I said that was one of the best horror films of the year that very much set up this whodunit story, very much in the veins of a slasher film, but it turns out it really wasn't a slasher film at all, which means the horror elements of it are that much stronger because they made you believe that's the kind of movie we were watching without that actually being the case at all. And that was Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. All My Friends Are Dead commits to it. All of these friends who were on their way to this music festival were involved in this great tragedy that happened recently to Colette, played by JoJo Siwa, who obviously is going to be the most recognizable face in this film. And I will say that her character plays a very important role to this story. Everybody has some involvement to Colette. And the question is just how deep that involvement really goes, because as this killer is taking them all these characters out one by one, that is the only method, that's the only motive that really makes sense for why the killer is doing what they did. That this tragedy that involved Colette, somebody is looking to get revenge for what happened, and all of these people here are responsible, and at the same time could also be our killer as well too, as this killer is very much looking to make all of these people pay for their involvement in what happened. And unlike a lot of other slashers, to where the killer a lot of times seems like they have just a bit of restraint here, that's the one nice thing about All My Friends Are Dead, is that our killer absolutely has zero restraint for these victims. Like, very much so is going to get revenge, and all these people are very deserving of just what's coming to them. Now, I do think there are enough clues sprinkled in here for you to figure out who that killer is, but the flip of that, though, is that this is actually a slasher that I thought got better on its second watch. You know, a lot of slashers, once you find out who the killer is, on subsequent watches, it's not as fun, it's not as strong, because that was really like the big selling point of the movie. But All My Friends Are Dead, what's so cool and what's so fun about it is that it is blatantly obvious after you get the reveal who the killer is, all the steps that have been taken throughout the film to keep our characters set up in the situation that it's in. And if you pay attention, you notice all of those things happening, and you very well work out who's responsible for what's going on before you hit that big reveal at the end of the movie. But the thing about it, though, is that that's not the end of it. All My Friends Are Dead sets up not only multiple false beginnings, but it sets up multiple false endings to the movie as well, too, to where I want to say I counted like 3 different endings to All My Friends Are Dead. This includes a post-credits one, by the way, as well, too, that you really, really have to pay attention to. You know, Marcus Dunstan, who has worked again in a lot of these franchises, and again, Saw is like the key one here, to where there's always more information being pulled back and revealed, and if you were paying attention, you would have caught a lot of these elements here. But Josh Sims and Jessica Sarah Flom, who wrote this script, add in so much intrigue to this story that this is very much a franchise starter. And it's one that I think is enjoyable enough to where you're really going to enjoy seeing whatever characters do survive this film, where they're going off for the second entry, because they very much tease a sequel to come that I very much hope ends up happening, because this movie was so much fun, honestly. The use of social media, the way that every single character in this film we can both love and hate at the exact same time. It's very rare rare for a slasher to give us a lot of the elements that we need for it to be a home run, and All My Friends Are Dead definitely succeeds in that aspect. Now, the downside of that is that not all the characters get enough screen time of this friends group. I think that, again, Jade, Pettyjohn, Sarah, Jennifer Inns, Mona, those two definitely get the most screen time out of anybody else there. But I do feel that characters like Liv and characters like Aaron, unfortunately, don't really get as much screen time as they should to really balance out everybody's deaths being felt when they get taken out later on in the movie. So that's the one thing that I do think that All My Friends Are Dead could do a little bit better. And honestly, as gory and as bloody as this film is, there are some elements to where it's a bit cartoonish and a little bit cheesy. That might be to really avoid getting like a NC-17 rating, honestly. It could be to where they didn't want to have to cut down a lot more, so if they make it a little bit more cartoonish, maybe less of a chance of them having to make cuts to it. But in some scenes, the deaths were like, they were over the top, but in not the best of ways. And most of them great. Most of them really, really good. I think, honestly, the ending fight sequence between, our remaining characters and our killers not only is brutal, but it's hilarious as well. And it's one of the reasons why I think Jennifer Inns, Mona, as much as we hate her, we love to hate her in this movie. She is one of the best bitches that we have seen in a horror film recently. And I think that you guys are honestly just going to fall in love with her. And JoJo Siwa, I have to call out on this one as well too, because I do know, obviously, given the last year with her career really having her new singles and her new album and all that stuff coming out, that she's garnered not the best press, that folks are kind of feeling a little bit annoyed with her, but realistically, y'all, she is not in any way, shape, or form a detriment to this film. Again, her character Colette plays a very big important role here to the story, and honestly, it's to the point to where I was actually kind of sad that she didn't get more scenes with the cast, only because it does seem very, very clear that she does good in ensemble pieces. Like, if you know her career, that's kind of the whole idea. And I wish we could have gotten more time with her and the rest of the cast, because I do think those would have been some highlights of the film. But alas, we get what we get, and she does a fine job here in the role. Keep doing horror, honestly. This will be the genre for you, I think, JoJo. So, the last thing I want to leave you off with, which is going to give a big spoiler here to where this film goes. And again, tune out now if you really want to avoid this. But I couldn't stop thinking by the time the film was done how much this movie very much seems like what Kevin Williamson wanted to originally do with Scream 4 and Jill Roberts. Because if you haven't heard about that, the whole idea of Scream 4 originally was that Jill wasn't going to get killed. Jill was still going to be Ghostface, and she was actually going to live throughout this encounter, and Sidney Prescott was going to end up basically with a bit of amnesia, not remembering that Jill was the Ghostface who killed all these people in Scream 4. Scream 5 then would have focused on Jill in college, and a new Ghostface like showing up, like who knows about what she's done, and looking to kill her, and Jill also having to go back to become Ghostface again, and it's like Ghostface versus Ghostface, similar to what they did with like the Carpenter sisters in Scream 5 and 6, but way more overt with it. And it seems very much like that's what All My Friends Are Dead kind of is, in the best of ways, honestly. Obviously, it's not a one-to-one translation, but it seems like that's what they were really going for, and I really love that aspect. And it sets up for the sequel to this so well. I am stoked for it, honestly. Marcus Dunstan, you did a fantastic job here with this film. I am very much ready to see where this franchise goes. So go check it out right now, folks. All My Friends Are Dead had a very limited theatrical release, so it might still be playing in theaters for you right now, but otherwise you can rent and purchase it on digital platforms. And let me know in the comment section here your thoughts on JoJo Siwa's latest single release for a chance to win a copy of A is for Alien, folks. I want to know that in the comment section. We'll enter you into the raffle. But that's going to do it for us today, y'all. I appreciate you tuning in. Hit that subscribe button. I got more great reviews coming for you. More Mayfair Witches, interview with the vampire, Alien Romulus, and I got some great interviews coming up for you this week as well too, folks. That's it tonight, though. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared. Boy, is a big fan of Fangoria. So, if you want to check out the world's best horror magazine that's out there, get a chance to get yourself your own subscription, which I just got my first one back in 2022, and I don't regret it for a second. But if you want your own Fangoria subscription, or you like the Fangoria merchandise, then head over to the Fangoria shop and use my link if you want to save yourself some money, folks. That's an easy one to remember. Just go to shop.fangoria.com/AXDEW. Again, that's shop.fangoria.com/AXDEW, or use my specific code AXDEW at checkout. You can save 20% off your entire order, and that implies 2 subscription and one-time orders as well. You don't want to miss out, folks, because with the magnitude of horror movies we've had released in the last few years, and with what we have on the horizon, Fangoria is going to be your #1 source for all that great, juicy, bloody information in the world of horror. So again, head to shop.fangoria.com. Hey there, folks! Thanks for tuning in to Watch This Scary Movie. I appreciate you checking out another review or movie news, whether we're talking movies, TV shows, books, or games, whatever, it's all scary. Remember, you can check out new episodes every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the YouTube page for video. That's youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. Again, youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. And you can check out the audio version on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Just search T Watch the Scary Movie or TWASM. Don't forget, my name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.